Hey, on this video, I just want to explain how the banks calculate how much interest you're gonna pay for not really interest but your payments, how they basically calculate your payments for your loan. So how much you're gonna pay for every single month, depending on basically your interest rate, and how long the duration for your payment, and how you can basically cut some of the some months from the duration. So if you're basically taking a loan for 20 years for a property, how much will you be paying? How much of that money will be interest? And how your loan will be structured. So this video is just explaining how a 20-year mortgage will be structured, and how you'll be paying, and how you can basically try to cut some of the interests that you'll be paying for your loan amount. So for this example, I used 500,000 as a loan amount for your property. So if you're taking a loan for 500,000, and say the interest rate that is given for you to pay for that loan is 11%, or let's rather put it in something that's on average 12%. So if, let's say, you're getting 12% for your loan as an interest rate, and you're going to pay for your loan for 20 years, that means, using this calculation, so this is basically the calculation that the banks use. They say your interest, using this 12%, divide by 12, multiply by your loan amount, and your loan amount is this 500,000, all divided by 1 minus 1 plus your interest, which is this 12%, divided by 12, all raised to a negative months. So the amount of months that you'll be paying for this loan is 20 years divided by 12 months, which is 240 months. So that's the amount of months that you'll put there, but don't forget the negative. So that's basically how they calculate your monthly payments. So if your loan is 500,000, that means your monthly payments, according to this calculation, and you can copy this formula also if you wanna maybe just do this calculation yourself, but that's basically how they calculate how much you're gonna be paying. So if your loan amount is maybe 11.5, so that changes the whole calculation, right? Okay, I think I didn't put a, I think I should put this comma instead. Right? What am I doing here? Okay. Yeah, that one. Right. So yeah, if your interest rate, I think I put it on a whole number there, but if your interest rate is 12% or 11.5, that's basically how much you're gonna be paying every month. But I'll just leave it at 12%. So 12%, you're gonna be paying 5,500 rand. And this is also on the assumption that your interest rate is not gonna change anytime during the 240 months or the 20-year duration. So if your interest rate is not going to change, assuming that it's not going to change for 12 months or for that 20-year period, and it's going to be 12%, that's how much you're going to be paying. So let's look at this payment plan and how it works. So on your month 0, before you start paying, you'll be owing 500,000. So that's basically your month 0 before you start paying. So once you paid your first deposit, that means you pay 5,000 rand here, 5,500 rand here. Interest on the month is 5,000. So that means for your first month that you're paying 5,500 rand, 5,000 is just interest. It's just what they're taking as 5,000 rand. And then your 550 rand, that's basically what's going to go into the loan. So what you owe then is basically this 500,000 minus the 550. So that's how much you owe now. So this 5,000 rand, 500,000 rand minus the 550, that's basically what you owe on your first month. And your second month, what happens is you still pay the same amount of money, but now the total amount of money has decreased that you still owe. Right? It's 499. 499,000 rand. So the interest that you're going to be paying has also decreased a bit. So interest now is 4,999. So your second payment, you'll be paying into the loan 510, and then it goes on and on and on. So you'll see that as you keep on paying, when you get to month 35, the interest that you've paid, that you're going to pay on that month, is 4,700, and what goes into the loan is 708 rand. So you're basically paying more interest than what you're paying into the loan until you go all the way. Let's look here where it basically starts being more or less the same. So when you get to month 171, so let's see, 171 divide by 12, right? So only after 14 years of paying that it's more or less equal now. So you get what I'm saying? Only after 14 years, the interest that you're paying into your loan is more or less equal to the principal that you're paying, and your principal being the amount of money that's going into your bank, into the loan amount, this amount. So this amount is what your principal, this is what's going into the loan. This is the interest that the bank is taking. So only after 14 years of paying for this loan will the amount of interest that the bank is taking and the amount of principal that you're putting into your loan amount is going to be more or less equal. And let's go on all the way to month number 240. So when you get to month number 240, you'll see that now the loan, the interest that you're paying into the interest that you're paying into the bond account is basically way less than the amount of money that you're paying into principal. So eventually what happens is you start paying more into your loan amount. After your 14 years, after your 15 years, you start paying more into your loan amount than what you're paying into your interest. But the majority of what you're going to be paying into that bond will be your basically your interest, right? So now let's also look at month number 240. So month number 240, a lot of people will say, I've been paying for 20 years. I'm supposed to be finished paying for my loan, but I'm not finished. And it goes on to 20 years plus a single month. And the reason why you still have to pay an additional month is because of this amount here. There's 554 rand 51 cents. So when you're done with that, there's still 50 rand that you still have to pay. So they're still gonna deduct 50 rand from the amount of money that you have paid. So in total, for your 500,000 loan, it means you have paid 1.3 million rand. Right? So more than double what you've taken for the loan is what you're going to pay. So that's why most of the money that you'll be paying for your bond will be going into interest than the principal amount. So the principal amount that you'll pay at the end will be 500,000 rand. Right? I hope that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, just maybe ask me to clarify some points on this, and I'll basically just do that. So now, how do you cut this? So if you want maybe to do it for 10 years, so if you want to take your loan amount to 10 years, so that means you have to add on top of the amount that you were paying, you have to add more or less 2,000 rand. So let me just do this. Copy this and paste this here. And then say, if you want to take your loan amount for 10 years, okay, let me just do this, all right? So if you want to take your loan amount to 10 years now, let's just add 10 years, right? So you want to take your loan amount to 10 years. So that means you have to add on top of the amount of money that you're paying 1.5 thousand rand. And if you do that, that basically decreases the amount of years that you're going to be paying. So you'll see when you get all the way here on month number 120, that's where you'll have you'll be finished with paying for your loan amount. So on month number 120, that's where you'll be finished paying for your loan amount. So if you want to decrease the 500 or the loan amount, then you have to pay 1,500 extra into the loan, and you will basically do that. And let's see if you add 500 rand. So if you add 500 rand on your loan amount, how does it decrease your payment? Let's check here. So if on your 500,000 loan amount that you've taken from the bank, you add only 500 rand per month. So let's say 180 divided by 12. So that means you'll be paying, if you add just 500 rand on your loan amount, then you'll basically pay your mortgage over a duration of 15 years. So just adding 500 rand can decrease your loan amount, or your total loan amount with the bank, by 5 years, right? So it's because now you're adding, from the beginning, you're adding more into your principal than you would if you did not pay for your loan amount. That's why it decreases your loan amount by so much, right? So some people will add maybe, even if you add 700 rand, you can see from this calculation that it decreases your the number of years that you're gonna pay for your loan amount. So 700 rand, so let's say 165 divided by 12, that's the amount of years. So you'll pay basically 13 or close to 14 years. So just increasing the loan, the amount of money that you're going to be paying on your loan will basically decrease your the amount of years that you're going to be paying. And the other thing that you can do is go back to the bank after 6 months of buying your property. Go back to the bank and renegotiate your interest rate. And let's say they decrease your interest rate to 11%. Because you've been paying all right for the last 1 year or so, you've been paying all right, and they decrease your interest rate from 12% to 11%. So that means, well, that's not going to decrease the amount of years that you're going to pay. You're still going to be paying for 20 years, but your monthly payment decreases by 400 rand. So if it decreases by 400 rand, now instead of paying 1.3 for your 1.3 for your total amount of loan, now you're paying 1.2. And if instead of because now you've decreased your loan amount by 400 rand. So now what if you still continue paying that extra 400 rand, regardless of the fact that you've decreased the loan amount by 400? So now you decrease the loan amount, or the interest rate that the bank is charging you. And after decreasing that interest rate, now you still pay the same amount of money to the bank, regardless of the fact that they've decreased your interest rate. So you decrease the interest rate, but you're still paying the same amount of money. So that means that you've decreased the amount of years you're gonna pay by 4 years, right? So these are some of the things that you can do. So now you've decreased the interest that the bank is gonna be paying, that the bank requires you to pay by 1%. And just decreasing by 1%, you basically and you still pay the same amount of money that you were paying before. Then that means you have basically decreased the amount of years that you're gonna pay your loan amount by 4 years. You know, and adding more money on this also. If you add another 400 rand or another 500 rand, then you can basically see how the calculation will work. So yeah, I hope this calculation will help you in determining how long your payment will be, and if you want to change certain things in your payment plan, then you can basically keep on using this this video just to see where you can fix some of the things in your bond amount, and where you're going wrong in terms of your payments in your bond account. But yeah, I hope this was self-explanatory. If it's not, just maybe comment below and ask me for clarification where you need clarification, and I will basically do that. But otherwise, yeah, that's how the bank system or the banks calculate how much you're going to be paying for your loan amount. And I hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.